For many people, one of the greatest pleasures in life is having children and watching them grow up. The trouble is, even in these days of greater equality for women, roles within the family are still sharply divided. It's generally the woman who's responsible for the children and the home, while the man is the wage earner. Diane McCartney and her friend Elaine Sadd both got married when they were 17, and they've each got 2 children. Although neither of them have any regrets about the roles they took on when they got married, they certainly don't have any illusions about the limitations these roles impose upon them.
We were both pregnant when we got married, but that isn't why we got married.
No.
You know, I suppose it helped me. I don't think I would have got married if I wasn't pregnant, but that wasn't the reason that we did get married in the first place.
We would have got married anyway, but a few years later on.
When we got a few more things together.
Yeah, just sort of brought it forward a bit, that's all.
A lot. Yeah. But we had nothing. I mean, my husband had been out of work when we first got married for a while. And my job, well, at 17 you don't get paid much anyway. And at that time there was no equal wages, so the wages were very, very poor. But you never seem to worry about it.
No, when you're 16 and you're married, that was the end of my problem, getting married. I was more frightened of my dad and what he'd say when he found out I was pregnant, rather than the fact of, oh, crikey, what am I going to do? The end, that was it. Once I got married, I thought, that's it. You know, everything's sorted out. I didn't realise everything was just beginning. But that's what you like when you're 16. You just go into it. You just do it.
I don't know, you just didn't seem to think about it at the time. You just thought that things were going to come to you, and they did.
No, so, I didn't have to get married. I had the choice of an abortion almost immediately. I even said to Mick when I found out that he didn't have to marry me, although we were engaged. We got married because we wanted to. People would have probably said that isn't the right thing to do at 16, you know, you little fool. But we wanted to get married. We didn't have to.
First thing I said to my, well, it was just my boyfriend there, I rang him up to tell him the results of the test. I'd been away for the weekend, or I was going away for the weekend, with my parents to my grandmother's house. And I just said, but I'm not getting married. That was the first thing I said, I don't want to get married.
Mm.
And then waited for his reaction.
Yeah, that's what
I was testing him myself. I thought, well, I'll say that first.
Yeah.
I knew I wanted to get married, but I thought I must test him first. And he said, well, why not? I thought that was, every intention of getting married. The only next problem was telling the parents.
Yeah, that was
that was the most frightening thing of all.
Well, not telling my mum, because my mum had guessed, but my dad, oh dear. Yeah, that was a bit of a problem at first, you know. But I did that with Mick. I said, I think I'm pregnant. And he just said, oh, never mind, well, we'll just have to get married, that's, you know, just get married a bit quicker, that's all. And that was it, really.
The thing was, it wasn't even really ignorance that we did get pregnant in the first place.
No, it wasn't. Not, I mean, we knew the facts of life.
It was more slapdash. You know.
Yeah. more could care less sort of thing, yeah.
I mean, it was so miserable. You just, all the time, say, like my father, he pretended I wasn't pregnant. He used to do a good thing by picking me up and taking me home. But he never mentioned it. My mother used to sort of hide the knitting away from him, because she'd got used to the idea by that time. But my sister was my biggest problem, my older sister.
My dad was mine, I must admit. I mean, he was just frightened for me, I think. For 3 months he wouldn't even, he barely talked to me, let alone anything else. And if we did talk, we argued. If my boyfriend came, we had to sit in the kitchen and everything. And yeah, but on the wedding day, as soon as we got married, he made this nice speech, and it was sort of all forgive and forget.
Yeah, that's, I had that.
Yeah.
My first memories were, nothing bothered me until I actually had him. And it was watching him lay in a cot, and all of a sudden I thought, how am I going to do the washing? You know, how am I going to get to the shops? And I remember having a little bit of a panic there, and I didn't know a thing. If it hadn't been for my mum telling me things, you know, what to do. I didn't even know how to change a nappy or anything.
No. I had lessons on the day I brought him home. Mick and my mum were there saying, well, this is what you do, you know, and you put that corner there and everything. And we had lessons in changing nappies when I came home with Michael. That was it.
I suppose at first it was a drastic effect, just changing over from, I suppose, being a boy to a man overnight. Getting married, bringing up a family, facing all the bills, facing going to work, and you just had to be grown up. When you were single, you didn't have to be. You could rely on your mother, your father, you could, you know, you'd no ties. You could please yourself. You get married, you can't please yourself. If you do, you're heading for a disaster.
It didn't affect me at first, you know, I just carried on as though I was just like I was used to, you know, as though I was single at first. And then after a year, things begin to tell on you, you know, certain things you have to do. Like you have to go to work all the time to bring the money in and help her with kids and that. But at first, you know, you don't realise until after about 12 months, then it all hit me at once, you know, I'm married. I've got to go out to work. You know, I don't really like working, but I don't have much choice.
You realise to a point that you've got to get up in the night, you know, to see to them, say once. And I think, you know, people say, well, you've got to feed it, but you think, well, I feeds, what, 20 minutes, change its nappy, put it back to sleep, don't you?
But it doesn't
and
work
it's
out
not, no. I mean, I was unlucky first time. I had a baby that wouldn't sleep anywhere. So I used to have a couple of hours in the afternoon, and in those 2 hours I used to run around, clean the flat, make the tea, and generally tidy up before he woke up again. He never went to sleep at night time, so
It was harder work then as well, because we didn't have as much room. I mean,
No.
we might not have as much room now that we'd like, but at that stage, I had a kitchen. By this time, we were in a back-to-back house, and I had a kitchen in the actual lounge. So I was forever keeping him away from the cook. I mean, there was nowhere that I could possibly shut him out. I mean, like most people can shut a kitchen door, the baby isn't to go in there when they're crawling at the best stage, but I had to have him in the same room. And you were continually trying to put things away.
Yeah.
And getting them higher and higher off the floor.
Yeah.
That was hard work.
I used to carry Michael around and plonk him on the surface to where I was working. You know, I'd be washing up and he'd be sat next to me. Because there wasn't any room for him to do anything else. It was, you know, you just had to have him there all the time.
You have to learn by your mistakes, and you do learn by your mistakes.
You're still totally dependent on your mums as well, aren't you? Don't you think?
Yeah.
I mean,
it's a link.
I was
Anybody
never
who has
away
it.
from my mother's. You know, I used to go up 3 times a week at least because I didn't know any neighbours. And also she used to help me out because she did the washing, because I couldn't afford a washer at the time. And I also couldn't afford to go to the laundrette, it was too expensive, so we used to take the washing up one day and bring it back a couple of days later. And otherwise, or boil nappies in the biggest pan I could find on top of the cooker. You know, so I was always at my mum's, always. And we still see each other a fair bit, but not as much as I used to.
Since Mother Nature began, a woman's role was cut out to be a mother. Just the motherly figure, bringing up kids, you know, bringing up children.
When you come home, you expect everything ready, you know. You don't expect to do, when you come home tired from work, you come home expect to have your tea, sit down, watch telly. If you can, but you can't always do that.
So what I say, your role at work, once you've clocked out, you tend to think it's finished. Well, a woman can't clock in and out. Her role goes on 24 hours round clock. To me, it's far harder because I couldn't do it, I couldn't cope. I can cope with my job because I know in the morning what I'm set out to do, and I'm finishing, and once I clock off, to me then, I've finished for the day. But a woman's role, I mean, she can be kept up at night time. Kids can scream through the middle of the night, they're poorly. Her role never ends, so to me her job's far harder than what mine is. I couldn't cope with that all the time. To a certain extent now, I look after them. She goes to work in the evenings, so I have them for, say, 2 hours. And I bath them and I get them ready for bed. Sometimes I have to chase the eldest one in to bring him in. You know, that's fine, but to do it every day, day in and day out, I don't think I could cope. So, in that respect, I think it's far harder for them than mine. Mine's sort of set out as a set pattern. But a woman's, it can change and vary from day to day. You've got a child that's ill in family, and, you know, their life is a turmoil. Everything's tipped upside down.
When I was 16, I knew it all.
Or thought you did.
Oh, yeah, well, thought I did. But I knew just what I was doing. I knew what I was letting myself in for. All right, so I was having a baby. It was a case of, well, so what? No, but no, 16. Especially, you see, I've got 2 boys anyway, and I don't think 16-year-old boys would know how to cope with a baby. My husband he was 19 when the baby was born, and he didn't know how to cope. I mean, he knew a bit more than me, but girls are more, I am going to sound terrible, but girls are more emotionally able to cope with a baby.
They're more mature at a younger age anyway.
Yeah,
definitely.
And it's not such a big changeover for a girl. Women lovers are going to hate me, but I really do think that we can cope better than boys. My husband's, you know, he was a bit of a baby himself at 19.
Well, mine was older anyway, 'cause my husband's a bit
Trevor's
older
a bit
than me.
older.
But even say like the difference between his attitude towards my first child to when I had my second.
Yeah.
When I had my second, he automatically took to it straight away.
Yeah.
But with Jonathan, he didn't see him till he was a day old anyway. And getting used to him, I mean, it was new for both of us anyway. But he'd been the youngest one in the family anyway. Our family, a very large family. So, I don't know whether it pushed him out a little.
I wouldn't like to stay home with the kids all the time. I don't mind it 1 day a week, that's all. Going through the routine of looking after, you know, getting them up and dressing them and all that. Giving them their dinners. They just can't cope with it all the time. And then the, you know, things that go on, crying and falling down. Things like that. I think I work harder than she does, but she thinks opposite to me. You know, she thinks that housework's hard. But you know, you can't compare it, really.
Who does the real work?
I do.
You've got to look forward. There's no point
Yeah.
looking back because it's done now. I mean, we're here, we're married with 2 children, so you
I'm
can't
not
say I
saying,
regret.
I'm not saying sometimes you don't think, oh, you know, if
I'd
only
love to.
I didn't have them for
Yeah.
one, you know, just for a night.
Yeah, so to go to an all-night party
Yeah.
and not think about coming back at midnight because your husband's got to drive your mum home and he can't drink too much, things like that.
Or when you're feeling ill. Now that's
Yeah,
the worst
you
time.
can't be ill
When
with
you're ill
kids.
yourself,
Yeah.
you have to carry on. I mean, your husbands can come home, go straight to bed.
But you can't.
But you can't. And then you're, not only that, but you can't even get the full night's sleep. You have to wake up during the night
Yeah.
as well. I think it takes you a lot longer to get over your illness apart from anything else.
Yeah, you'd feel dragged down a lot
And that's
longer.
the time I can remember thinking, I want my mum. You
Yeah,
know, that's
yeah.
the time when you feel that you'd like to be back at home. And also you start to realise how lucky you were at home. I mean, the board that I used to pay my mother was about £2 a week,
Well, I never did.
which she
Pay board.
gave me back at
I
the end of
didn't
the
have
week to buy some
chance.
clothes with because,
Yeah.
well, I didn't earn anything much at all. And then suddenly all the finances were up to you.
Yeah.
My husband isn't very financially minded, and so I do all that sort of thing. And so sometimes that seemed a bit too much. You know,
Yeah.
why should I have the responsibility of all the bills?
Yeah.
Which you're not used to. I mean, you're used to, have I got enough bus fare in my purse to go to work or to buy my dinners? But that was all your financial problems were. But suddenly there was electric bill, a gas bill, and at that time a telephone bill, which we had to get rid of.
Mm.
And there was nothing left for any of the extras.
No. That's the
Yeah.
worst thing, I think. Suddenly finding that I'd just started earning and I was enjoying having my own money, and within, 6 months, that was it.
Mm.
I had nothing. I was living on housekeeping and whatever extra we had went on the baby. And that was a big shock. It's, you know, to have had a bit of money, to
Yeah.
come back down to next to nothing.
I can remember when we got £25 in the bank for the first time.
Did you? Oh.
And it was absolutely, you felt
Yeah.
so secure.
Yeah.
And the next week my husband came home, reached for his wage packet and he'd lost it. I can remember crying for hours on end. To me now, I mean £25 is still quite a sum, but then it was an unbelievable amount and we had to use it all.
Mm.
And I remember then that was when I really felt distraught.
I didn't have bills to pay for, but I got housekeeping. But we had a gas meter and an electric meter, and sometimes, honestly, I've seen me Thursday tea time before he came home with his wages, and my last 10p's gone in the electric or the gas, and I'm not scared of the dark. I used to run down the stairs because we were in a flat, and it had one of these lights that you press and it stayed on for so long, and I stand at the bottom of the stairs with the baby, because I've no money, pressing this rotten light on and off. You know, as soon as it went off, I'd press it back on again, because I didn't have anything to put in the electric. And sometimes, I mean, Michael was brought up on National Dried milk. It was 20p a carton, But sometimes I couldn't afford 20p. It was things like that that got you.
I do have a role, as I say. She has my tea ready when I come home. And then the rest of it then, I see to the kids, I get them ready for bed, and she goes out to work. And usually they're in bed before she comes back from work.
You changed from being Diane.
And Elaine, yes.
Yeah.
And then you're a mum.
Jonathan's mum,
Yeah.
Trevor's wife.
Yeah.
And that's the only role you've got.
Yeah, you're not even somebody's daughter anymore. Well, you are to an extent, but not like you were. Now you're somebody's mum instead of being somebody's daughter.
Even at the hospital, they don't address you as Mrs. McCartney in some hospitals. They say, now they're mother.
Yes. Oh, mother.
And I remember
yes.
thinking, ugh, you know,
Yes.
don't call me that.
No.
You know, I have a name.
Yes.
And I think that's why I go out one day a week to work.
Mm.
And suddenly you become your own person.
Mm.
I think that's maybe why I do work, at least one day.
It
I try to
helps
keep
you,
it up.
Yeah. I mean, my job isn't very fantastic, but at least you get out 2 hours a night. And the girls all live round here, but we can have a giggle and a talk, and I might come home feeling tired. But at
Keeps you
least,
sane.
yeah, it keeps you sane. At least I've been sort of 23 again. Sometimes I feel 103, and it's nice to go out and have a giggle, come back in again, and, you know, get on with what you're doing at night time. We're lucky in that both husbands will look after the kids.
That's it. I
So
think
we can get out.
if, say, I had a husband who went out on his own and I was left here,
It could drive you
then
mad.
I don't think our marriage would have lasted.
No.
Because you need to become yourself. Because wherever you go, you know, like somebody will say, oh, how's Jonathan? And you end up having a conversation about babies and children.
Yes. And nobody asks you how you are.
Yeah.
They always ask you how your family is.
Yeah. Because,
Yeah.
I mean, the first thing you notice when you come out of hospital carrying a newborn baby is suddenly, although you've had 9 months of attention, you know, I'll take your bags for you, suddenly it's, oh, the baby's there. They're giving presents to the baby.
Never mind the husband being pushed into the background.
Yeah, you
Just
are.
before Christmas, we went out, didn't we? We only went up to a local pub with 2 other girls. And we got chatted up by these 6
It's suddenly,
boys.
yes,
And it was lovely.
Yeah.
It really was. They all knew we were married. They all knew we'd 2 kids each. But they didn't mind.
Yeah,
You
you're
know,
suddenly
and it was
having a
really
conversation,
nice.
you were talking about
Yeah, and
places
they were
that
talking
used
to you.
go
They didn't want to know about your kids. They wanted to know about you, and I don't care. And they might be watching, and I don't know. I don't care really. It was so nice and so flattering, just for a couple of hours, to be 23.
Yeah.
You know, instead of being a mum, to
Talking
be,
about
to be a
nightclubs and
girl,
things.
really, losing a few years, and you know, being silly. Well,
But
to
there
an
again,
extent.
I was also very glad that I had the security of my husband.
Yeah,
to
you
come
can.
home
You
to.
know, you can go back to them. That's nice. Yeah.
So, you
It's
know,
also
that,
nice to escape.
yeah, it's nice to get out every now and
Yeah.
again, just to find yourself. But it's also nice to come back generally.
Yeah, it's usually nice to get back.
Yes, we're sitting down. What is it, Mum? It's running end. Oh, this is coming.
What's this? A letter? Where's your letter? Have you got a letter? Oh! Sorry about holidays. Come on then. Joe, you want to wear that? Right, you want some crisps? Yeah then, come on, let's go.
We both went on to have another boy.
Yeah.
The oldest one's 5 now.
Nearly 6, you can say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Matthew's 2.
And Paul's 2. And I'm 23 and Diane's 23. You know,
And
we're
I'm
very
having-
much alike.
That's it. And now I'm having my 3rd.
Yes, and I would like another one, but in a couple of months maybe.